Okay, hello and welcome to today's program, How to Get Your Business Certified as a Woman Owner with Women's Business Enterprise Center, commonly called WBEC. This webinar is being presented by Colleen Lacoste, who you see here with the group. She's the Director of Certification and Business Development with WBEC East. She has had the pleasure of assisting over 1,700 certified business owners in our local tri-state region to maintain their certification and use it to grow their business networks. Colleen has spent her career managing strategy, events, and membership services for various nonprofits and loves working in a place where women are empowered to change the world. Thank you, Colleen, for sharing your experience on this important topic, and I trust all of our viewers will find it informative and helpful. Can you go to the next slide? My name is Maria Smith, and I'm a volunteer with SCORE of Chester and Delaware counties. SCORE is a nonprofit organization that has been in existence for over 50 years and is a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. SCORE's mission is to foster a strong small business community by providing free mentorship and business education. We are here to help you support you and to help you grow your business. Here in Chester and Delaware counties, we have 100 volunteers ready to help. Our mentoring and most of our educational programs are free. You will find many tools, templates, and other business resources on our website resource library. Next slide. Today's program is 1 hour, scheduled until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The presentation is being recorded and will be made available to you after today's session. Along with the slide deck, there is a lot of content in this program, and several helpful links and resources will be sent to you along with those materials. You all have been placed on mute, so we avoid distractions. Please ask your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll take breaks to answer them. Well, welcome, Colleen, our presenter.
Great, thank you so much, Maria, and thank you to SCORE for having me. I am really excited to be here today. This is one of the things that I love about my job, is getting to meet potential business owners that could become a part of our certification network. So I'm really excited to share all this information with you today. So on our agenda, we are going to cover quite a lot here. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will know, one, is certification even right for you as a business owner? What are the eligibility requirements? What are you really getting into here? And then what does the process look like? How do you get into the application? What are all the documents you need to put together? Basically, you should feel ready to get going and kind of understand the whole process and what it means, and know who to reach out to if you have questions too. So that being said, I always like to start off with a couple poll questions just to understand a little bit more about our audience, help me tailor it a little bit more to you. So Maria, if you could pop up our poll questions. If you could just tell me, those of you on the call, how old your business is, if you're brand new, you've been in business for a few years, how many employees you have, if you're just a one-woman show, if you have a team, what is your ownership breakdown? So whether you are a one-woman show, whether you're 50-50, whether you're 51-49 with a male partner, because I will be talking about that structure. And then, of course, what is your legal structure too? Sole prop, LLC, partnership, corporation. If you are just a community partner that's here, or if you haven't not yet launched your business, you can select does not apply to me.
It looks like we're getting a lot of responses. We'll wait just another minute or so. Thank you for those of you who are participating. We appreciate the feedback, and we're going to show the results of this in just a moment. Okay, maybe just one more. All right, we're going to end the poll and we'll show the results. Let me know that you can see them.
Yep. Okay. So, all right, great. A ton of people are brand new. About half of us on the call, less than a year old, a couple of people within the last couple of years, a few more experienced business owners. Great. Great, a lot of one-woman shows, handful of people with employees. Okay, most of us here are 100% sole owners. We do have a couple 5149s, other combos, and okay, mostly LLCs, couple corporations, couple sole props. Okay, great. So we've got a good mix here. This gives me a good understanding of who we have on the call, and so the certification applies to all of you. Corporations, LLCs, one-woman show, brand new businesses, experienced businesses. So I will talk about all of that in a few minutes when we get down to the eligibility. So let's jump in. I always like to start off all of my presentations by talking about supplier diversity, because it is something that not a lot of small business owners know a ton about, and it really is the reason why people get certified, whether they know it or not. So what is supplier diversity? It is a business practice among corporations and government agencies that have procurement offices, where they take a look at the small businesses that they hire for goods and services as suppliers, whether product-based or service-based, and make sure that they're coming from a diverse background. So are they contracting with enough women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses? And a lot of times these corporations, these procurement offices or government offices, when they have these initiatives, they'll put into place what's called a supplier diversity program or a supplier diversity office. Now, this looks different for everybody. Every procurement department is kind of its own island, but a lot of times in order to get access to that supplier diversity program, they want to see that a business is certified, because these programs are really intended to help level the playing field. They recognize that it's really hard for a woman or a minority-owned business just to get a foot in the door. So they will look to see that a business is truly women-owned, truly minority-owned, and that they are certified by one of the recognized certifying agencies in order to get access to the supplier diversity program. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of business owners that will try to take advantage of these programs when they are not who they were intended for. So WBEE is the largest certifier of women-owned businesses nationwide. It is the national certifier for the WBE, and I'll explain what all that means in a minute. But there are some things that I want you to know about supplier diversity. First and foremost, every procurement department, every organization, state, city, government agency, everyone is different. Basically, think of each procurement department as an island. So what does that mean for you as a small business owner? Do your research and be very targeted about your potential clients. So take a look at, let's say you are targeting Bank of America, and they are headquartered in the state of Delaware. You may not necessarily need to get certified in the state of Delaware. A lot of people think they need to get certified in a specific state in order to do business with a corporation in that state. Go right to the source. Go right to the procurement department of your target client and say, hey, I'm interested in your supplier diversity program. What certificates do you accept? Because every organization, every state, every city is different. And just because you get certified in a certain state doesn't mean you are certified to now work with all of the agencies in that state. So I'll give you an example. PennDOT actually has its own, PennDOT, SEPTA, and the other PA transportation agencies have their own unique supplier diversity certificate program. And it is just for doing business with DOT or any of the transportation agencies. It is not applicable to any other corporation, any other government agency, any other state. And you also can't take any outside certificate in. So if you get the national certifier, if you get WBEE, you have a national certificate, and you go to PennDOT and you only want to do business with PennDOT, they're going to say to you, yeah, we don't accept the national certificate. We want you to get our internal certificate. But then if you go get PennDOT's internal, their certificate, their WBE certificate, and you take it then to Bank of America is going to say, this is PennDOT's certificate. Give us a national certificate here. So it can get confusing. And that is why it's important to just ask. Just ask the procurement department directly. And sometimes it's as easy as like Googling supplier diversity Bank of America, right? And just seeing if they have a supplier diversity page. Many corporations, many government agencies do, and they'll say right on there what certificates they accept. So before you apply for any certificate program, just do a little research into 5 to 10 of your targeted clients or your current clients and just ask them. Find out what certificates will be useful to you. Now, there is no one certificate that is accepted by every procurement department, every state, every city, every corporation in the entire nation. I wish there was. Everyone wishes there was. We are as close as you can get being a national certificate. But like I said, with the PennDOT example, there is no, there's no federal rule that says like every organization in the country, every agency, every state has to accept one single certificate. There just isn't, unfortunately. So, if you're here to just kind of see how many potential corporate clients you can get, you're in the right place. But if you have one very specific client that has said to you, hey, I need you to get a diversity certificate, the first thing you should ask them back is, which one do you want me to get? So you don't go applying for the wrong certificate. Now, it's important to know being a diverse supplier, having a diversity certificate does not guarantee you business or guarantee you contracts. It isn't even intended to give you an edge over a male-owned business. It is about leveling the playing field. It's about giving you just that foot in the door, giving you an in, educating you, giving you the networking tool, because these corporations and government agencies recognize that it's really hard for small businesses, particularly women and minority-owned businesses who already have had a lot of disadvantages. I mean, women business owners couldn't even get their own business loan without a male co-signer until about 40 years ago. So, we're still playing catch up a little bit. It is about leveling the playing field. Ultimately, once you get that in, once you get access to that contract opportunity, that supplier diversity person helps you to understand the procurement processes. It's up to you to be the best fit for the job. And you're still competing with all those other male-owned businesses, and you're also competing with thousands and thousands of other women-owned and minority-owned businesses too. Number 4, being a WBE is just one of a bunch of ways to be certified as a diverse business. There are 5 national certifiers. There's women-owned, minority-owned, which is the MBE, disability-owned, veteran-owned, and LGBT-owned. So generally, when a corporation will say to you, hey, I need you to get certified as a diverse supplier, they will accept any of those diversity certificates. So, if you don't necessarily fit into the category of being women-owned, perhaps you could get veteran-owned, or you could get disability-owned certified, or LGBT-owned certified. And usually one of these national certificates opens up this whole world of supplier diversity to you. And we work really closely with the other national certifiers because ultimately we have the same goal, is to help diverse businesses thrive. And many of our WBEs also have another certificate they're eligible for. I know a lot of Black women who are both MBE and WBE certified. People ask me, do I need to get both? Well, it depends on your goals. If you have a single client that has said to you, hey, I just need you to get a diversity certificate so that I can count you towards my goals, doesn't matter which one you get. Maybe you just pick the one that, feels right to you. Or if you're just here to see how many people you can connect with, how many potential corporate clients this can open up for you. You never know which corporate is trying to increase their goals for women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses. You never know which corporation is more active in, our network versus the MBE network. So maybe you get both, and it just opens up more networking opportunities to you. Supplier diversity is not goodwill, it's good business sense. Corporations are really leaning into supplier diversity. I think that the pandemic was a big question, and given all of the supply chain challenges, supplier diversity has been a big answer to it. Corporations are really invested in diversifying their suppliers that they have on hand, and also, I believe it was about 4 years ago, Ernst & Young did a study that showed that for every 1 million they invested in supplier diversity, they got a 3 million in return. That's a huge ROI. Corporations really find that when you bring on, new people with new products, new innovations, new services, it really helps to improve their company all around. We know that diversity is a good thing, but corporations are really leaning into it too. And lastly, you can have supplier diversity goals too. There is no business too small to say, oh, hey, tax season is here. It's they're due right around the corner. I really need to hire an accountant. Consider hiring another WBE, another women-owned business. We have WBEs in literally every industry, and 80% of our WBEs, when we surveyed them this year and last year, 80% of the people said that they were either actively working with or looking to work with other WBEs as clients. So those are some things to know about the world of supplier diversity and kind of what you're getting into here. So let's pause for a second and take a little short self-assessment. See, am I in the right place? So one, is your product or service targeted at corporations, government agencies? Are you B2B? If you are product-based, are you looking to go wholesale? Not saying that a storefront couldn't get certified. They absolutely could. There are plenty of people who have it just for the prestige of having the women-owned certification. But the real meat and potatoes benefit is going to be access to the procurement departments for these corporations and government agencies. So, if you are product-based, are you looking to work with hospital systems, big box stores like Walmart and Target, hotel systems, school districts, things like that. If you are a brand new business, I know a lot of you guys are you ready? When you get certified and you get access to all of these networking events and you meet a corporation, let's say you're a product-based business, you're a food-based business, and I happen to introduce you to my fantastic contact at Giant Supermarkets, and she says, oh my gosh, this is such a unique product, I'd love to get you on my shelves. You don't want to have to say to her, oh, I'm still a year or two away from being shelf ready, I don't know. That's not a good impression. You want to, one, be ready to serve potentially larger clients. And then also, you want to show that you've been successful in the past too, because a lot of times these corporations, to give you a contract to hire someone, that's a big step in trust, right? And they want you to trust that they are hiring a successful business that can fulfill this job, right? So they will look to see, even if you're brand new, do you have expertise? Do you have experience? Do you have client success stories, right? So if you are brand new, just think, am I ready? And some businesses, you just need your brain and your laptop and you are set to go. You're ready to go. You've been consulting, part-time on the side for many years. You may be ready to go right now and you just launched 2 months ago. Great. Other businesses, you may need time to set up with employees and equipment and really establish yourself out there, get a website up and running. So, maybe wait a little bit to apply because it's a lot of work. Are you willing to share all of the details of your business with us? We are going to ask for tax returns, legal documents, board minutes if you have them, payroll, all sorts of things like that. And I will go through that list of documents in a little bit, and then what to do if you don't have them. But you need to be willing to share with us anything that you have that we ask for, and we ask for everything for a reason. And lastly, are you clear that, any diversity certification, it does not guarantee you business, does not entitle you to business. It is a networking and marketing tool. So if you've said yes to all of these, congrats, you're in the right place. So these benefits that you get, hopefully you should be kind of getting an idea of them. Of course, you get the WBE certificate that you can send to supplier diversity programs. You can upload to their registration portals to get registered with them as a supplier. You get access to hundreds of supplier diversity and procurement executives. You're included in our database. You also get access to our database of both our WBEs as well as our corporates. We have the set of logos that you can use. We do a lot of networking, both at the local level and national level, as well as throughout other regions. And a lot of other organizations do a lot of supplier diversity events too. Small business centers, SCORE chapters, the corporations themselves will often have supplier diversity summits. So there really is a whole world out there. And also, if you are tired of being the only women CEO in the room, you are in a great place because we are a whole network of women CEOs. So welcome. So my question for you is, why are you here? What is your strategy? What's your plan to do, when you get this certificate? Because having a diversity certificate on its own is not a plan. It's a piece of paper. It is something you will slap on the wall, and it's not an employee. It's not gonna go out and do work for you, right? You need to make it a part of your strategic plan. It's like, I really like this metaphor, that it's like getting a college degree. When you get a college degree, yay, you worked so hard for it. Now what? Job offers aren't just going to land in your inbox. And also, you're not guaranteed anything because you're a college degree. Now the hard work starts. Now you have to apply to jobs. You have to interview. You have to be the best fit for the job. And you also get this great alumni network to take advantage of, work your network. You're validated as a college graduate. It's very similar when you get a diversity certificate. Now you are validated as a women-owned business. You have access to this great network. Now comes the hard part of growing your business network, applying, being the best fit for the job. So, take that time to actually put together your strategic plan, because you should have a strategic and a marketing plan for your business, whether or not you have a diversity certificate or not. So you need to make this a part of your strategy. Identifying who are your target clients. Are they local? Are they national corporations, depending on how big you are and what kind of scope you're looking to serve? Are you better suited to be a sub or a prime, which I'll talk about what that is in a second? Do you understand the environment in your industry, the bidding and procurement environment? Because if you have a diversity certificate, but you don't know the first thing about bidding or government contracting, and you're trying to get a government contract, it might be worth taking some classes or, sitting in on a couple PTAC sessions or something on what government contracting is like. Because that is really going to help you to use the certificate successfully, because you get out of it what you put into it. Now, I'm going to take a second to talk about what a sub and a prime is, because I know a lot of people don't know what that is. But when you're thinking about your clients, kind of think about what size clients are you looking for, and also what size are you prepared to serve. So let's say, I'll give you a few examples here. Let's say that you are in marketing management, and you are a 2-woman team, so you're not big. Maybe you can serve a local university, but you're not big enough to do all the social media for Walt Disney World, right? We actually have a lot of local corporate members, universities, hospital systems, contractors that you could potentially work with as a smaller business. Now, let's say that you are a larger corporation. Maybe you could work with Walt Disney World. Or, okay, let's go into the world of what is a sub here. So let's say Walt Disney World has they have a contract, and they need someone to handle all of the maintenance in all of their parks, right? They're going to hire ABC Property as the prime contractor, and they're going to say to ABC Prime, like, here are the bazillion jobs that we need done. We need you to also make sure you're hiring enough women and minority-owned businesses. So they're going to go to other subcontractors and say, okay, hey, you can do landscaping, you can do snow removal, you can do masonry. So maybe you are not big enough to be ABC Property Maintenance because you can't do all these things, but maybe you can do snow removal for one park in Walt Disney World. So you could potentially be working with a prime and still use your certificate. Walt Disney World is one of our corporate members. So maybe you are big enough to work with Walt Disney World as a small member if you work with one of their primes. Now, sometimes the primes are our members too. So Henkels and McCoy is a contractor. Let's say they're working with the U.S. Air Force, right? U.S. Air Force is not a member of us, but Henkels is, right? Maybe you working with Henkels, as, again, another small business that is helping out with one of their larger projects. So I want to show you the different structures of this, because a lot of small business owners think, I am way too tiny. I only do, I have 3 trucks to do snow removal. I can't service Walt Disney World. I can't service, any a college campus. It's worth looking into prime contracting, or also considering that many of our corporations are not Walt Disney World. They are local universities, hospital systems, contractors. They are used to working with small businesses. So actually, 50% of our businesses are small. They're in the under 1 million range. I think about 30 of our businesses are single member LLC sole proprietors. So many of our certified businesses are tiny. So I just wanted to give that shout out there. Okay, so a little bit about our network. I've been throwing around WBE East, WBE. So I mentioned that we are a national network. We are a national certificate. We are comprised of 14 regions. And when you get certified in all of the regions. So you are headquartered in Pennsylvania. That means you would get certified with me and my team. But let's say you have a remote staff member out in Seattle. Have them get involved with WBEC Pacific and go to WBEC Pacific events. I mean, in today's day and age, people are also doing tons of events virtually. I mean, we're here right now. So take advantage of the national network. If you ever move, it's very easy for us to transfer you to another region. A lot of people in our area, because, we're in Southeast Pennsylvania, people do business in Maryland, and Virginia, and New Jersey, and New York, West Virginia, Ohio. So it's a great certificate to get because it does open up the borders of all of these other states too. There are over 18,000 certified businesses and growing in our network. And there are also over 400 corporations that are members of WBEC. Now, these are not the be-all and all of the corporations that accept the certificate. There are hundreds more out there. Like I said, the U.S. Air Force isn't a member, but they have a supplier diversity program. These 400 are just ones that specifically pay dues to us in order to have access to you guys, to be able to come to our events, to have access to our directory. So they're a great place to start if you just don't really know what corporate clients you want to pursue. You could potentially start with these 400 because, they're paying dues to us. They better have a supplier diversity program. Now, we are WBEC East. We cover all businesses that are headquartered in Pennsylvania, Delaware, or South Jersey. So if you have your headquarters, or if you're home-based, if you live in one of these 3 states, then you would be working with me and my team. If you happen to move to North Jersey within the next 30 days or so, or whenever you apply, you will be working with the team up in Metro New York. But you are still very welcome to come to all of our events to network with us. It's just a matter of what regional office you will be working with, and the certificate process and eligibility, everything is standard nationwide. So while we are one of the smallest in terms of footprint size, we're actually the 3rd largest region in terms of number of WBEs. Philadelphia is one of the largest represented cities, the greater Philadelphia area, in the entire network, which is really exciting. We have over 60 corporations of those 400 that are active locally within our tri-state area. So really robust number. And they represent everything from some of our largest ones, Wells Fargo, and all the way to the Philadelphia Phillies, or University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, some more local universities, local health systems, up to national corporations, especially because a lot of corporations are headquartered in Delaware. So, with the tax laws and all. So it's a great network to be a part of. So what is a WBE? Women's Business Enterprise. That's what the acronym stands for. It is not just about ownership. This is the biggest myth that I am busting for you right now. Any diversity certification is not just about ownership. That is one small part of it. Any certified business, any diversity certificate must be 51% owned and run and controlled by that demographic. So for us, it's women. So at least 51% owned by women, run by women, daily run by women, and totally in control of a woman or women. So let's break this down a little bit further. First and foremost, you must be for profit and incorporated. Incorporated just means that you're launched, that you have your appropriate paperwork from whatever state. If you're in Pennsylvania, you have your incorporation paperwork from Pennsylvania. It doesn't mean that LLCs can't be certified. LLCs are like one of our biggest contingencies. LLCs, sole proprietors, corporations, S corps, partnerships, all sorts of business structures. And you must be for profit. We don't certify nonprofits. 51% owned by a woman or women. Can be multiple women. And this includes all aggregate ownership. So if you are a corporation and you have different classes of stock certificates, if you have voting and non-voting certificates, it's all aggregate stock certificates. So let's say that there are 1,000 shares and only 100 of them are voting shares, and the woman owns that 100%, and a man owns the other 900, which are non-voting. Technically, he's the 90% owner. Even though she has the 100% of the voting shares, she only has 10% of the overall shares. So it's all aggregate shares. The female owners are 51%, or are U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents. I went back to 51% because I just wanted to mention we do not round up. Okay, so it's not 50.5, it's 51%. So female owners have to be U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. A woman has to hold the highest title. So whether that's president, CEO, managing member, founder, whatever that highest title is in your business, a woman has to hold it. And not just in name only. She has to actually be the president or CEO. The owner has to have evidence that she's actually the one running the day-to-day and in control of the business. Is she the one signing things? Is she the one supervising staff day-to-day? Is she the one hiring and firing? If not, is she supervising the person who is hiring and firing? We know that some of you guys are small one-woman show doing everything, or maybe have two-person team and you're still kind of wearing many hats. Other people have, 20 people under them. So we understand you may not be the one doing the actual hiring day to day, but you should know who is, they should be reporting to, you should have control over them, you should be supervising them, and you should, have the industry knowledge to, understand who they're hiring. This should be, and this goes into the next one, this should be your industry. You have to have the expertise and or contribution of capital. Basically, you have to be essential to the business. And you have to have the independence and ability to function on your own from a male-owned company. This is a big one that a lot of people ask about. So what does that mean, independence? I'll give you a couple examples. Let's say, let me just make sure I don't have a slide. Okay, I didn't have a slide on this. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples of what it means to be independent. Let's say that a mother and son team are going to start a courier service, and the son owns a truck and he has a commercial driving license, and the mother says, okay, I am I'm going to do the dispatching and run the accounting and everything, and you're going to drive the truck. Well, she's reliant on him to the point that if he decided he didn't want to do this anymore, he says, no, you can't use my truck. I'm not going to drive. You don't have a CDL. She's dependent on him, right? That business is not independent from a man. I'll give you another example. Let's say that there is a construction company, and the husband has been the president for 20 years, and his wife has been doing the accounting. She's been the CFO for the last 5 years. She has an MBA, so she knows how to do all this. She's been involved in the business, and they really want to get involved in supplier diversity. So they do some switcheroos. She now owns 51% of the business. He becomes the vice president. She becomes the president. Now, he's been running this business for 20 years. He's the foreman. This is not her industry. She is not in construction. She is not going out into the field and supervising things on a day-to-day. If it came down to it, she could not run the business without him. She is not independent. She is dependent on him. I'll give you one more example. let's say another construction family business. Let's say that it's been the grandfather's business for 50 years. Granddaughter has been working in it her whole life. She sees a specific niche, decides to go out on her own. She's very knowledgeable about, this is her industry. She's very knowledgeable about it. And she, starts her own business, but she is still using her grandfather's employees and equipment in order to fulfill projects. And she's getting a lot of her clients through her grandfather. If one day her grandfather cut her off and said, you can't use my equipment anymore to fulfill your projects, she would not be successfully able to run her business. She is dependent on his company to run the business. Not saying that she will never be independent. Maybe in a year or two, she, can go out, or maybe immediately she goes out and says, you know what, fine, I'm going to go hire my own employees and get my own equipment. Great. Then she could potentially be certifiable. But ultimately, we want to make sure that we are not certifying a pass-through. We want to make sure that there is no male-owned company in the background that is taking advantage of a woman, really, in order to get a woman-owned certification. So these are the eligibility requirements. There is no time of business, no size, no industry limitations. We have literally every industry under the sun. I have seen some of the most interesting businesses out there that we have certified. I have businesses that were launched in the late 1800s and have 500 employees and 50 million in revenue. I have businesses that were launched 6 months ago and it's a one-woman show working out of her kitchen table. It doesn't matter as long as you meet the eligibility requirements. So let's take a second to talk about husband-wife teams. In a business where the woman owns 51%, I say husband-wife, it can be any male-female partnership where the woman owns 51%. We are going to highly scrutinize this because why? Why is it 51%? What is the reasoning behind that? And sometimes it is a situation where, yeah, that maybe they're both, the male and the female are both equally experienced in the industry, and the woman just does want to keep that extra 1% control. Great, okay. But questions you should be asking, is this my business or is this my husband's business and he's giving me the 51% in order to get, this certificate? Is this my business? Do I have the final say on all decisions? Does my staff defer to me or do they defer to him? Does he defer to me? Am I the expert in the industry such that if he were to make a decision and I disagreed with it, he would say, okay, no, I defer to you as the owner of this business. Are you overseeing the day-to-day operations or are you just passively involved? Not saying that every business owner has to be, if it's like manufacturing or construction, whatever, let's say you have a roofing company. You don't have to be out there on the roofs every day, but you have to know the roofing industry. You have to be able to supervise who is out there doing the roofing every day. And you have to be involved in the day-to-day management. So a situation where a woman has owned her business for 20 years, she's now retired, but she still owns the business. She's still the CEO, but she is, she's maybe once a week gets reports, makes high-level decisions, but she's mostly retired, and her son is working 40 hours a week as the vice president, but he's really the one running the day-to-day operations. That is not eligible for certification. She or another woman it can be her daughter, it can be her, friend. It just has to be a woman running the day-to-day and being that person on site. It does not have to be the same woman, but overall, women have to be in control. Dynamics aside, family dynamics aside, can you legally fire your male partner? Can you fire your husband? If it went before a judge, would he rule in your favor? Are you reliant on your male partner for a license, equipment, clients, to the point that if he all of a sudden just were to retire, you could still continue. If he has a specific license, do you have other employees who also have that license? Does he own a truck, piece of equipment, something that you are entirely reliant on? Ultimately, will you be successful if your male partner left the company? Okay, this is really important. I want everyone to listen in on this. So when I mentioned before in the eligibility, you had to have, documentation that you are legally in control of the business. This is what we mean, your governing documents. What is a governing document? Well, depending on your business structure, it could be your bylaws if you're a corporation, if you're an LLC, operating agreement, partnership agreement, shareholders agreement, franchise agreement, whatever structure your business is, whatever governing documents you have, you should take a look at them. Now, some people, like a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you may not have a governing document, and that's okay. If you are a single member LLC though, and you have employees, you really should have an operating agreement that you draft with a lawyer to protect you as the owner of the business. But we know that's like sole proprietors, because it's literally just you are the company. You may not have a governing document, but everyone else, you really should have a governing document, because it legally states on there who's running the company, how the company's run. And this document is legally binding in real life, legally binding, whether or not it's actually reflecting what's happening. So a lot of people will get this document off of LegalZoom when they launch their business and just never read it and sign it. That's a problem, because there are two things I want you to look for that are very common in these documents that could actually jeopardize you and your company, and also will get you denied for the certificate, which I don't want you to do. One, unanimous consent or supermajority clauses. What is this? Basically, it's a clause that says that a particular decision, let's say taking out a loan, must have unanimous consent. Everyone has to be in agreement of all owners or directors, right? That means that if you have like a 10% owner, a 10% share owner, even if it's like, let's say it's, your grandfather who has absolutely nothing to do with the company. He was just a silent investor, but he said, hey, just give me 10% of the company. Well, unanimous consent says that this clause says that you have to have his permission in order to take out a loan of $25,000. That is not good. That will get you denied, because that means that you have clauses in there that a man could overrule your control of the business. That is problematic. So please go and do like a Control F search of your documents for unanimous, the word unanimous, or sometimes supermajority. Supermajority will usually be like 75% or 2/3, basically more than the 51%. Draw up an amendment, sign it, changing it to say majority 51% consent instead of unanimous. The other thing I want you to look out for, the officers and directors section. Who has the highest title in your company? Because you may think it's you, but it may not be you. You may not be the head of your company if you've never read the officers and directors section of your governing documents. So it is very, very, very common for even the most reputable lawyer to just draft, the president is the CEO of the company. That is very, very standard language. That means the president is the head of the company. He is the CEO. So if it is a man, if it is he, let's say, I've seen this many times where a woman is the CEO and she has a president who reports to her in real life and in operation, but legally by her governing documents, he is in charge of her. If this were to go in front of a judge, he is in charge of her. He is the head of the company because he has the president title. So please, 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 sometime this week, this afternoon, go in and take a look and see who is the head of your company. And if it's not you, please drop an amendment with your title in there and sign it. And whatever your title is, the founding member is the highest officer of the company, and all other officers shall report to the founding member, whatever your title is. So these are the two things I want you to really take a look out for, because even if you meet the eligibility requirements in every other way, you are a perfectly women-owned run business, and you have these, in your governing documents that you've never read, we will unfortunately have to deny you, because we don't know why, if it was written like this, if it was intentional or not. Look. Okay, so briefly, I just want to talk about this, that we also offer a second certificate. So remember at the beginning of the presentation when I said that PennDOT has their own certificate program? Well, the federal government has their own certificate program called the WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business, and this is just for doing business with the federal government. So, are you interested in contracting with the federal government? If the answer is no, you can check no on question 1 of your WB application. The application, very first question will say, do you also want to add on the WOSB certificate? Because we are approved to add it on to the WBE. That way you have both. And also, are you working in one of the approved NAICS code industries for the Federal Supplier Diversity Program? It is most industries because they are typically male-dominated industries. So unfortunately, that's still most businesses today. But if you answer no to these, then you don't need the WOSB. So many people just check yes on the WOSB without really reading or knowing what it is, and they don't need it. You can always add it on next year. You can't add it on halfway through the year. So if like you decide 6 months from now, like, oh, wait, I do want to pursue a federal contract. If you think you may want it, add it on now. But otherwise, if you really don't need it, just save yourself a little bit of time.
Colleen, real quick, it's Maria. Can you hear me? Now, we have a question specifically about the SBA program in the chat box. Are you able to see chat?
I can. Let me take a look here. How does this differ from going through the SBA for WOSB? Great. It is exactly the same, but we will save you a little bit of time in your life. It is exactly the same. So you can, for the WOSB, you can apply directly through the SBA, and I will say they are very backed up. Or you can add it on through us, and we'll issue it on top of your WBE, and it will make your life a little bit easier. I really recommend it if you are trying to get both the WBE and WOSB. But if you have it through the SBA, great, awesome, and you just want to continue doing that. I have people that do both. I tell them, like, you don't need to do both because you don't need to get WOSB twice. Yeah, so a note here, DUNS was phased out last year, the DUNS number. It is now the unique identifier number. So when you get registered in SAM, which is the System for Award Management, you need to have this unique identifier number. And that is why it is really, really backed up now. A lot of people are having trouble switching their DUNS number to the unique identifier number and getting that SAM registration. It is free to do with the government. It's just they're so backed up. So don't get scammed by people who will say, like, hey, give us $500 in order to get SAM registered. It is free. They cannot get it through any faster than the SBA will get to it. But don't let that hold you back. What we're going to do, if you are one of the many, many people who are just waiting on SAM and you do want the WOSB add-on, make sure you still check yes. I want the WOSB. And then when we ask for your SAM documents, just check NA. What we're going to do, we will, in our mind, we're going to say, okay, they're waiting on SAM. We're going to open up a Dropbox for you so that, once that does come through, you can upload it directly to your application. In the meantime, we'll get started on your review, looking through everything else, doing your site visit, all that stuff. And then once SAM does come through, then we can issue your WOSB after the WBE. That's our workaround. It's been working really well and getting people through the process a lot faster. So that's my recommendation if you are one of those people struggling with SAM.
And there's a few more in there, Colleen, that have been popping up.
Use code. I'm still waiting. Yep. That's that's there. That's the SBA. Review processes are delayed. That's the SBA. The SBA is super backed up right now. And that's why we actually get a lot of people apply for the WOSB through us. We don't offer the WOSB without the WB. So you do need to add you need to start with the WB and add on that WOSB, but we will get it through for you so much faster than the SBA. And I will go through our timelines in a minute. I know it's so many people are frustrated with the SBA right now. Okay, I want to keep getting through this. I know there's a lot of questions here, but I have a bunch more that I still want to get through, and then I will continue, looking through questions. Okay, so some things just to also know, on your application, it's going to ask for a NAICS code. What is a NAICS code? North American Industry Classification System. It's basically the government's way of saying, hey, what do you do? What's your industry? If you go to NACE.com/search, you have thousands of codes to choose from, and you can pick whichever one your heart desires that you feel best fits your company. So we suggest you pick one primary code because you're going to have one on your application as primary, and maybe pick 5, 10, 15 additional codes because we know you don't just offer one single service. So if you're in like marketing services, some people will pick like the high level code for marketing services, and then their additional codes, graphic design, website design, printing, flyers, things like that. So that's what a NACE code is. Nice and simple. It sounds scary, but it's not. You pick whatever codes your heart desires. But we do recommend you also put it on your tax return too, because a lot of times your accountant will just put like the generic professional services code. And that's okay, but we do recommend you pick a code that represents you. All right, so let's get into the application process here. So the first year you apply will take about 3 to 4 months, depending on the complexity of your business. Recertification is annual and it does not take this long. If you have had no changes, you don't need a site visit, which we do every 3 years, it will go through in about 2 weeks. So the first year is really the year we're going to dive in and really learn everything we can. So here's what happens after you get everything together and you send it to us. We're going to read through everything. Give us a week or two to read through all the stuff you send, and then we're going to come back to you with questions. We always have questions. I have never seen an applicant actually submit all their documents correctly. Either someone has accidentally uploaded something twice. I mean, that's how much stuff you're sending to us. Someone's uploaded something twice. Someone accidentally forgot to send something, and someone misunderstood and didn't realize what that meant, what the specific document was. This is our chance to clarify everything. It's a conversation. We're going to come back to you with a Q&A in the system. And, you're going to get 5, 10 questions. Do not be dismayed. This is totally typical. Take a week, take a few days, get everything together and send it back to us as one. Don't send us stuff piecemeal because it's just more back and forth. If you need more time, that's fine. Just let us know. Keep in communication with us. We will let you know who your certification officer is. Email them. Let them know, hey, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Can you just give me till the end of the month to get this back to you? We will be happy to. Don't panic. All right, so then once we have everything from you, all of the additional questions have been answered because sometimes we see, okay, oh, I see she shares an office with another company. I wonder what is the relationship? Is it like a family company? Like, we're going to ask a lot of questions, right? Once all the questions have been answered, we will send it to our committee of anonymous reviewers comprised of our corporate members and WBEs. They're all highly trained, sign confidentiality agreements, etc. But they meet generally twice a month. So that's why we just say 30 days in here, because let's say we have a committee meeting on Friday, you get everything to us on Thursday, we may not get you into the agenda. So, you may need to wait 2 weeks, but they generally meet twice a month. And then once the committee has met, they are our second set of eyes, you will have a site visit. And depending on the nature of your business, this could either be in person or virtual. I will say that the vast majority of them have been virtual, but if you are in distributing or manufacturing, or you have some kind of facility or something that we really need to meet with you in person, we may come out and meet with you in person. But it is usually a 1 hour or less meeting. It's one-on-one. It is just the site visitor and you or whoever the women owners are. No male owners, no employees, no managers, if you have other managers, it's just you. And we will do our best to work with you to find a time that works for both of us. Once the site visit is done, you will generally hear back on the final decision in about a week. So that is what this process is. We can't expedite it because the committee only meets twice a month and you need a site visit, and we need to do that Q&A and make sure the documentation is there. So if you know that you have a contract coming up in 60 days, you better get it in like today so that we can get you start moving. And it really, depends also on the complexity of your business. If you're a sole proprietor and you have all your documents beautifully in order, you will get through this process probably a lot faster than someone who has like 20 different owners and your stock certificates are upside down and half missing and we can't read your ledger and you're missing half your documents. So organization is lovely. there is a cost to apply, and it goes on a sliding scale. So this is another thing to think about if you're a brand new business, if you're ready for this, because it is a little bit of an investment in yourself. If you make under $1 million a year in gross receipts, which many, I would say the majority of our businesses do, it is $350 to apply, and this is an annual fee. It is the same fee to renew every year. It goes up from there. If you make $1 to $5 million a year, it's $500, $5 to $10 million, it's $750, so on and so forth. And just note that this is it's a processing fee. It's an application fee. It does not guarantee certification. So if you get denied, or if you decide halfway through the process to withdraw, we're not going to refund it to you because we've already done hours and hours of work on your application.
Colleen, real quick, it's Maria. There was a question related to this. If you add the WOSB to the program, does that increase the cost?
It does not. There is no additional fee for adding the WOSB. Good question. Confidentiality and privacy is our #1 priority. Our portal has several layers of encryption. It was designed specifically for this. The software we use actually is the same software that many government agencies use for their procurement programs, that the minority-owned certification uses. It is a supplier diversity and certification platform, so it's designed for this. So everything we do is going to be in this platform. We don't accept anything in hard copy. Please don't mail me anything. Please don't fax me anything. I don't even have a printer in my office at home. I do have one in my main office, but somewhere in the system, there's a couple places where it still says like fax this to or upload. Like, don't fax it, just upload it. Just make sure it's safely uploaded to your application. We have all signed confidentiality non-disclosure agreements. We are all highly trained. We take regular training every year. We do not share any of your confidential information ever. If certification is discontinued, if you let it lapse, if you get denied, if you start your application and then you don't submit it within 90 days, it will get purged from the system. We don't want to hang on to tax returns from a business that got halfway through the application system. And also, if you have a contact that you want us to work with, please add them as an application contact, because if someone emails me and says, hey, what's the status on Jane's application? And it's not Jane, I better know that this person, I'm authorized to talk to them. So I'm going to email Jane first and say, hey, can I talk to this person? So just know that we take confidentiality very seriously, because you're sending us things like tax returns. I know this is tiny, but I just want to show you what you're going to be looking at in the application process. So on the bottom left, you can click on apply or renew certification, and you're going to be getting all these links from Maria in the follow-up. This is what the dashboard looks like. You can click back into your application, save, come back in at any time. You can see all of your applications, click on process on the one that you're currently working on. And then this is what the actual application looks like. We don't have a paper application because it looks different. The application is different for everyone because there's a little bit of logic in there based on what your business structure is. But you can see all these little red arrows, and it'll say, 1 completed out of 6, or, so how many questions you have left, how many documents you have left to upload. Now, I mentioned you have 90 days to complete this. So really recommend gathering all your documents first, getting everything ready, and then submitting it. We know that a lot of people do not have their 2022 tax returns yet. That's okay. You can work on 21. But just know that if it gets deleted, it's gone. So I can extend it. So please email me like 2-3 weeks in advance. Do not wait till the night before, because if I don't see your email, or if you email me on Saturday, I don't work on Saturday. Just give me plenty of time. If like, oh my gosh, I think I may not get this done by the end of the month. Just email me and I'll give you another 60 days. I'm happy to. I don't want you to lose your steps. All right. I know we are getting towards the end of the hour. I do have a couple more slides, but if you do have to hang up, we will definitely send you the recording. So I just wanted to shout that out. The documents, just like the application, they're a little bit different for everyone. So depending on how old your business is and your structure. So legal and governance, these are going to apply to everyone. So your articles of incorporation or whatever paperwork when you first launched. If you're a corporation, your stock certificates, bylaws. If you're an LLC partnership, your operating agreement. Your owner eligibility, proof of gender citizenship, so your birth certificate, driver's license. Resumes of all owners and directors in a traditional resume format. We want to know who has the experience, who, what your education is. Don't send us a little blurb. We will come back and say, hey, please send us a resume for all of the owners, all of them, and all of the directors. Proof of contribution of capital. We know a lot of you guys are startups. So this can be anything from, if you bought the business, your purchase agreement, or if you are a startup, a statement saying, hey, I put $500 in sweat equity into this business. We have seen that a lot. Financial structure. I will get to this on the next page. What if I don't have 3 years of tax returns? It's common, very common. But we'll ask for balance sheets, profit loss statements. A bank signature card is basically something from your bank saying who has the signing authority on your bank account. It's a big indicator of control. Loan agreements, leases, personnel, if you have personnel, W-2s for all of your owners and directors. We want to know who is being compensated appropriately. List of employees, payroll. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. But just know that recertification is not nearly as arduous. If you have any questions, please email us and we can help clarify what document, what does this mean? What is a bank signature card?
Colleen,
if you are
one
yes.
fast question.
Yes.
Tax returns. What if the company doesn't have taxes yet?
That is this slide that I was just about to talk about.
Okay, good, perfect.
Yep. So if you are a brand new business, here are some recommendations for you. So contribution of capital, I just talked about. If you have put in sweat equity, or you deposited a check of $500 or $100 or something into your business bank account, no matter how small, send us a statement or something, that, yeah, I used my own computer and put in $100. It's common. 3 years of tax returns. Okay, what if you don't have any company tax returns? You can send us the first 2 pages of your personal returns. So that would be the tax returns that you have filed, first 2 pages. You can redact your social security number. You can redact, your dependent names or anything. We don't need all of your extra, HSA schedules or whatever. And if you have a Schedule C because you have filed business taxes, please send us that as well. And you can kind of mix and match depending on how old your business is. So let's say that you launched your business. We know you probably don't have 22 taxes done yet. That's fine. A lot of people won't for at least another month or 2. But let's say you're going to apply right now. You launched your business in 2020. So let's say you send us 2019 taxes. Those are going to be your personal taxes. So you can send us those first 2 pages in 2019. 2020, you can send us, let's say you started your business and you filed with a Schedule C. You send us those first 2 pages plus the Schedule C. And let's say in 2021, you switched over and now you're filing corporate taxes. 2021, you send us the full schedule, all of the schedules of the company taxes that you filed. That's great. You can kind of mix and match depending on how old your business is. If you don't file any taxes, I have never seen anyone not file any taxes. I'm pretty sure everyone has to file taxes to some extent, but we will need some kind of documentation then. If you have just started your business, we will need some kind of financial, but we will work, for individual questions like that, let's connect offline. Balance sheet and profit loss statement, we need it. No matter how short and sweet and covered in zeros. If you don't have one, we don't need a fancy one from QuickBooks, but you should go online and, find a nice, simple template that you can use in Excel. Everyone has some basic startup costs, whether that's, buying office supplies or buying a computer or just starting a website or any kind of basic stuff. again, they don't need to be complicated. I have seen profit loss statements full of zeros. That is okay, but we need those documents. So there are plenty of templates online you can use. Other things that may not apply: W-2s, list of employees if you don't have any employees, if no one's getting paid yet, lease agreements if you work out of your home, loan agreements if you don't have any loans. You can check NA on all those things, but I actually like to recommend something that will help you get through the review a little bit faster. Just upload a Word document saying, I'm the only employee, it's just me, or I'm not paying anyone yet, it's just me and my sister, we're not getting paid. Very, very common. And what that does though is your reviewing officer, they just don't have to ask, right? You've already answered the question before it was asked. You know, they don't have to say, hey, I saw you checked NA on payroll. Is anyone getting paid? Oh, she uploaded. Oh, okay. Oh, no one's getting paid. Great. Awesome. Moving along. It's really helpful for us, and it will help you get through the process faster. Why do we ask for so much stuff? Well, we're not a pay for play. Every document we ask for verifies that a woman owns and runs the company. And we regularly review what documents we ask for to make sure that they really are necessary, because they are. So some examples, you know, we talked about the bylaws and operating agreement, the governing documents, you know, earlier on. Do you legally have control of your business? Resumes, you know, who has the expertise? Is this your industry? Have you worked in this industry before, or have education, or, you know, have some relative, you know, we understand that there are plenty of startups that, you know, are, you're a woman, you had a great product idea, you are a hustler, like we get it, plenty of that. That's not what we're worried about. What we're looking for are things like, you know, you have never been in construction your entire life, and your business partner has been in construction his entire life, and you have been a school teacher your whole life. There are going to be some questions that we have in terms of who's really controlling the business here. Leases and loans, you know, who's signing on behalf of the business, who is providing this business, who's bankrolling this business, balance sheet, you know, are there any loans that you're not reporting to us? For the woman who just asked, you know, what's sought when reviewing financial documents, like these are the kind of things that we're looking at on these financial documents. Payroll and W-2s, are you valued by the company? Not saying that you have to be the highest paid in the company, or you even have to be getting paid, because we know, especially if your business is like brand new or even less than 5 years old, or, you know, it's been really tough for the last 3 years for people. Many people are putting money back into the company. We know that, you know, you may not be the highest paid, but there has to be a good reason why, right? It can't be, and I've seen the situation that the woman is making $10,000 a year and her son is making $2 million a year. Well, it turned out that he was the one really running the company once we dug further and went out in person. But if it's a situation where, you know, union agreements and you're paying your staff appropriately, or you have a great staff member who's working on commission and made really great sales that year and got paid appropriately, or you just decided to take all of, you know, your salary and put it back into the business and maybe take a distribution next year. Those are all totally valid reasons why you wouldn't be making money or even the highest salary in the company, but there has to be a reason. Tax returns. I mean, that is the easiest way for us to see who owns the company every year, because you legally have to report to the IRS every year who owns your company. If it's just you, an LLC, or a sole proprietor, you file as a Schedule C. If it is a corporation, or you have multiple owners and you file corporate taxes, you know, you have that K1, and it breaks down and it says exactly who owns the percentage of the company. That is something you have to send to us every year, because you know, that's the easiest way for us to legally validate that you still own the company. So that's why we ask for so many things. So I know we're a little bit past the hour, but I want to wrap up here with my 10 tips for you as you get started. So 1, create your profile using the female owner's email address. It's very bizarrely common that I see like a male admin who's helping out, or a consultant or someone, just put their name as the primary contact, which, like, no, use her name. That way it's her certificate. Remember, the public information that you send to us actually will go directly into the directory after you get certified. So please type your name in upper and lowercase letters. I've seen some people just not capitalize their name at all. Spell your business name correctly, capitalize that too. Put in a good business description, put in keywords, put in your NAICS codes. Remember, I said you can pick whatever NAICS codes you want. You know, make sure that you proofread everything. You know, that this is going to go into the directory. Submit as many documents as you can in your initial application. If you say, yeah, I know Colleen said, you know, submit a resume, but I'm just going to put a little blurb for myself, and I don't think she needs my partner's resume, we're just going to come back and ask for it. So send it to us. Save yourself some time later down the road. We reviewed this back about 40 minutes ago. Make sure your bylaws and operating agreements support your control. If you've never read them, please, some point this week, go and read them for unanimous consent clauses and who the highest title is. If you are not the one that's going to be filling out this application, if you have a colleague or a friend, you know, your sister, someone helping you, please make sure you proofread everything for accuracy before you submit it. Pay the processing fee by credit card rather than check. You can send a check, but we're not going to get started until we get it. And, you know, snail mail just takes a few more days. So just pay by credit card. Whitelist this email. This is the email that everything will come from, everything. So once you send it to us and your reviewing officer reads through it, sends you some questions, you're going to get an email saying, hey, your reviewing officer has some questions. You will get an email saying, hey, we're ready for a site visit. You'll get an email saying, congratulations, you're approved. It will all come from this email. So please make sure you whitelist this email so these notices don't go to spam. We talked about number 8 already. Send all of the responses to Q&As together in a timely manner as one. Don't send stuff to us piecemeal because it's just more back and forth. You know, if you say, hey, I'm going to send her, you know, I know she asked for 5 things. I'm going to send her this, and then I'll get this to her tomorrow. And then maybe next week, like, it's just, we go back and we're like, okay, now we have that. All right, we have that. Like, it's just more back and forth, right? Just make our job easier and send it together as one. Be flexible when it comes to your site visit. Don't say, hey, I can only meet at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. It might take us a while to find someone after hours. And again, remember, the whole process can take it takes about 3 to 4 months. It can take more if you don't get back to us. So if you don't respond to that Q&A for a whole month, you add that month onto that time frame. But we do the best we can to get you through as quickly as possible. We can't expedite because we are already working as fast as we possibly can to get you through. And the process takes time because we really want to ensure for the sanctity of the certification for all of our women who are currently certified, that every new business we certify as well is also owned and run by a woman too. We have an amazing staff team that is here to help you. You're going to look at that application portal and you are going to, like, at some point probably beat your head against a desk and say, oh my gosh, I need help. Who do I contact? You contact us. We are the friendly faces behind this somewhat ugly system. Don't send in a support ticket to tech support. Please, if you need tech support because you can't log in or like you can't upload a document, please reach out to tech support. They're great. But if you have like a question, like, or even just like, hey, what's my status? Like, I applied a month ago. Did I miss something? Maybe I missed an email was sent to spam. Email us. We will be happy to answer questions. You know, we can't necessarily coach you through the process because we are, you know, independent reviewers, but we can happily clarify anything. We'll let you know if we can't answer something, basically. Try us first. We are happy to hop on a call with you after you've applied and you said, you sent me 5 questions. I don't know what this means. Help. We will happily hop on a call with you and explain it. We are here to assist. So what comes next? You know, hopefully I gave you a ton of things to think about here. You know, after you hop off of this, think about, who are your target clients? Are you looking to work with organizations that have procurement programs, corporations, government agencies? If you are a product-based business, are you looking to go wholesale? then start doing your research. Maybe pick 5 to 10 target clients that you're looking at. And it can be as simple as Googling them and saying, hey, XYZ company supplier diversity. I'm also in that email that Maria is going to send you after this. We'll send you a list of all of our corporate clients as well, all those 400 corporations. So you can start looking into those as well. Decide whether certification is right for you, whether you're ready to start fulfilling contracts, whether you're ready, ultimately. And then start getting your documents in order, organize them, organization. Everyone tells me after they get certified, they're like, oh, I'm so organized now. And then once you're certified, come up with a plan. I do a whole other program on what comes next and how to navigate the network and what events are good for your business. But certification can really open up new doors if you work your network. It does not guarantee you business. It is not a magic golden ticket, but it is really intended to help level the playing field for women. And it's a wonderful, wonderful network to be a part of. So I thank you so much for your time and for sticking with me. I know we had a lot of stuff. We went over a little bit, and I'm going to stick around for any questions that you have.
Colleen,
and I'm going to go through as well.
Hi, can you also move to the score slide for a second so we can, just so everyone knows, in case you're not working with a SCORE mentor today on your business program, this could be a good time when you're going through this process to work with a SCORE mentor, because some of these documents are confusing and you can get help, of course, from Colleen's group, but there may be some basics that you want to go through, especially with your business plan, marketing plan, and other key things. So the link is here. We also have an office. You can call our office and speak with Catherine, and she can match you with a mentor. And then let's go to the last slide, and I'll pull up the poll while Colleen, you can take a quick look and see if there are any lingering questions. I don't see any in the box. I just want to say thank you to everyone for sticking it out today. There's a lot of people that stayed right until the very end here. So this was clearly important. We apologize for the delay. If you have a couple of minutes, we just have some questions. These questions are for SCORE to help us to continue to improve our education programs and to make sure we're getting content for you that's important to your business. So if you have a moment, give us a quick couple of responses here. And the only other thing I saw in the chat boxes today were people had some questions about if they didn't have governing documents, what to do. And is it okay to sign up for the WOSB just in case? Those were two I think we may not have gotten to.
Yeah, so I'll start with the WOSB one. Absolutely. There are definitely people that get certified as a WOSB just in case. Absolutely. I mean, if you don't need it, then you don't need it. It's a little extra work because you have to get SAM registered, which takes time. But yeah, absolutely. If you are not sure, definitely you can still add it on. Totally. Or you can add it on to your next recertification if you decide, next year you're like, actually this year I'm going to do it. Definitely. And then the next one, governing documents. If you are a sole proprietor or single member LLC, you don't have any staff, and it's just you, you may not need, you probably don't have governing documents, and that's okay. Really, we're looking for the governing documents for a corporation. They should have bylaws when they are launched. Or if you're an LLC that, you have a management team, you have multiple owners, especially if it's you and a male owner, you should have those documents, and we will ask you to go and draft those documents. Frankly, most people go on to LegalZoom. If you do, again, remember, look out for those unanimous consent clauses and who the highest title is.
Very good. Well, I'm going to end the poll now. And again, thank you so much for your patience. I think, Colleen, next time we probably will extend the time to make sure that you have the time and everyone has the time to participate. But have a wonderful day. We hope to see you soon at another webinar or in one of our events. Colleen, thanks again. Bye now.
Thank you, everyone.